Hello and welcome to Pat Baer's Anime Club, an ongoing video series where every other Monday I explore something from the wide world of anime that interests me, that I want to chat about. It could be recommendations, it could be a review of a previous anime season, it could be a deep dive into a topic that I really want to explore, or it could just be me answering a question that I asked myself, and I will do my best to answer. Like this episode, which is, as you saw in the title, is it anime? Which is a easy question to answer and also a complex one. So, let me explain why we got here. There's going to be a Scott Pilgrim anime. It's for Netflix. It's the voice cast of the movie. And of course, Brian is involved, the creator, Brian Lee O'Malley. And it's coming to Netflix. And they flat out are like, this anime. And people were like, but it's Scott Pilgrim, so it's a cartoon, but it's not an anime. But then Science Saru is making it. So does that make it an anime? But the source material isn't from Japan, and the native language isn't going to be Japanese. So is it an anime? And the answer to all these questions is yeah, look, I'm going to give you, look, you can just go away now. I'm going to give you the big answer to this question, and then we'll dive deeper. Is it anime lowercase a? Yes. All animation is anime because that's just the Japanese word for animation. Pixar is anime to Japan. Like American Dad is anime because it is animated. Now, capital A anime, which is I've included here in this helpful thing, that gets a little deeper because that means, does it vibe? Does it feel like? This is from the approach of outside of Japan, what is anime? The answer to that would be, to a Western audience, we'll say, anime is animation made in Japan, made in the style of. So Scott Pilgrim shouldn't count. At the end of the day, it's just vibes. We're going to take a look at, I got 5 animated shows here. 1 upcoming, as I said, and 4 that have existed. And I am going to take a look at it and try to answer yes or no questions. And then I will come to Pat Says. And I will give the definitive Pat Baer answer, because it's Pat Baer's Anime Club. But again, the answer is yes. It's lowercase a anime. Is it uppercase a anime? Is it Japanimation? It's terrible. It's a terrible word. Let's dive into there. Let's go right now. We're gonna take advantage of a thing I have not used at Pat Baer's Anime Club before, which is of course spreadsheets. I made up a spreadsheet. I do this all the time in my other jobs, so why not here? So as you can see, I'm just going to go through this. You can read it. We will be answering the questions, the yes or no questions. Is it from a Japanese studio? Is Japanese the primary language? Is the source material Japanese? Is it animated? We'll go through here. And we'll take a quick look there. Scott Pilgrim. Yes, it's being made by Science Saru. That is a Japanese studio. No, the primary language is not Japanese. It's going to be primarily an English anime. Is the source material Japanese? No, obviously Brian Lee O'Malley influenced by manga when creating Scott Pilgrim and RPGs, Japanese style RPGs, certainly. But no. Is it animated? Yes. Last Airbender. Was it made by a Japanese studio? No. Is Japanese the primary language? No. Again, this is Avatar: The Last Airbender. You know it. I don't have to tell you what that is. Is the source material Japanese? No. Is it animated? Yes. So, 3 no's there. High Guardian Spice. High Guardian Spice was an original for Crunchyroll. Crunchyroll originals are almost exclusively co-productions Crunchyroll did with Japanese studios to make sure that we always have licensing rights to those properties. and to use its name in its production and also in its distribution of said anime. They also funded some American folks to make a cartoon that aired on Crunchyroll natively in English. So no animated. Radiant, done by a Japanese studio. Radiant is a shonen based on a manga, or if you want to be real weird about it, a manfra. Because even though the anime is a Japanese language primarily because it was created in Japan by a Japanese studio, the source material is a French comic book done in a manga style, but some people would call it manfra, which I hate saying. Instead of manga, it's manfra. It's terrible. And it was animated. And then Perfect Hair Forever. Was it done by a Japanese studio? No. Is it Japanese language primarily? No. Is it from source material? I'll argue this in a second, but no. Is it anime? Yes. If you don't know Perfect Hair Forever, this is an obscure thing. This is an Adult Swim original that was, I think it had like 6 or 7 episodes. It was supposed to have another season. It never got another season. This is an anime parody done in the U.S., done mostly, I believe, in Atlanta, but then probably some other work done in other studios. For Adult Swim, it is a parody. The source material is a bunch of people wanting to make an anime parody. So its source material is not like a manga or other, it's inspired by. So you could put a maybe there, I guess. But yeah. So that's in case you don't know Perfect Hair Forever. I mean, it's pretty good. It's a pretty fine parody of anime done by American folks in an American studio for an American cable network. So you can see here, we got some yeses, we got some nos. Also, check out Radiant. It's pretty good. It's a pretty good one of those like good boy shonens. Just happens to be from a French author. The source material, I should say. All right, so now let's go and let's actually answer the questions the Pat says. Not dramatic. I'm just going to list these and I'll tell you about them here. Scott Pilgrim. Pat says, yes, that's an anime because it is being done by an anime studio. And while the source material was done by a Canadian, you can argue that what they're doing there, the style they're doing, the fact that it is being done by that studio, even if the native language is going to be English, that's an anime. That's definitely an anime. Last Airbender. It's not an anime. That might controversial perhaps because some people do consider it like an American anime. It comes down to vibes. And that's a terrible way to do it, but it's the best example I can come up with, or the best statement I can come up with, I should say. It comes down to vibes, and Airbender isn't trying to be anime. It's just trying to tell a complex story for young adults into adulthood, and telling an episodic tale that just happened to air on Nickelodeon. So it's not an anime. It's just a good American cartoon. High Guardian Spice. That's an anime. It aired on it was developed for Crunchyroll and aired on Crunchyroll. That's an anime. That's an anime. Radiant. That's an anime. That's obviously an anime. Source material not being Japanese in nature does not mean that it's not an anime. Perfect Hair Forever. This one might be even more controversial than Last Airbender. But Pat says that's an anime. That's a capital A anime. Like, obviously, all of these are anime, as I said, because it's just the word for animation. But Perfect Hair Forever goes so far in being a parody of anime that it's an anime. Now, there are other examples of this. What was it? Jaden Smith did a thing that's basically also an anime. It would fit in there. I can't remember the name off the top of my head. I'm sorry. There are Crunchyroll has done a few other shows that are not natively Japanese productions, and one that was, I believe, in Spanish as a primary language. those are anime too. I still don't think Last Airbender feels like an anime. Samurai Jack's not an anime. Uh, but you know it when you see it. Everything's an anime, but also those aren't. Yeah. Um, Look, I don't have a good conclusion for this. Is it anime? You know it when you see it, and also don't. It doesn't matter. It's okay. It's okay. I'm sure there's some live action stuff that you could look at and you could go, "That's an anime," and you could make a case for it. A segment of the Animatrix is an anime because it was done by a Japanese studio. Some of the Star Wars stuff some of Star Wars is anime. All of wrestling is anime. That's a joke, but you get what I'm saying. Hey, I want to hear what you're saying in the comments below. Let me know if there's something that you think like, Pat, this is also an anime. I think we can have a debate in the comments. You can tell me how I'm wrong. How Last Airbender is definitely an anime, and how Perfect Hair Forever is definitely not an anime, Pat. What are you talking about? I would love to hear from you in the comments about that. If you have suggestions for future videos, do you want recommendations for the spring season, which has just started at the time of this recording? If you want to know what I'm watching, or if you want, I don't know if people actually want me talking about every single isekai out this season and if I'm watching them. And if Otaku Elf is an isekai or if it's a reverse isekai, and does that matter? Is it a different world from Earth or just a different world from the main character? We'll never really know. But I would love to hear from you, your thoughts on that and anything else. Pat Baer's Anime Club exists because I want to keep making it. If you like this, please hit the like button, leave a comment, subscribe if you haven't already. Give me ideas for future videos. I've got a few waiting there. Eventually, we will talk about why light novel titles are so long. That is a thing I will do in the future, but I wanted to get this out there because it's been in my head since Scott Pilgrim anime got announced, which is, of course, an anime. Thanks for watching. Bye.